bias and fairness in AI systems. Coming to AI systems in particular, we want to avoid any kind of bias in the training data. So as I said, generative AI tools are trained on certain pre-existing data sets. Now, if it is going to be trained on certain very restricted data, that is going to be skewed. For example, if an image generating AI tool is shown images of doctors, and or in the database there are only images of Caucasian male doctors. So if you ask that AI tool to generate an image of a doctor, it will always show pictures of a white man, and there won't be women, there won't be people of different races. That's a small example of bias in training data. Bias can manifest in peer review, manuscript screening, and research recommendations. So if it's trained on only papers with very good English, or only papers from a certain part of the world, other kinds of papers tend to be neglected. It may research data sets that include certain groups or disciplines or geographic regions. Again, they are getting neglected. So the other thing that happens is, because of citation cartels and things like that, again, certain papers tend to be oversighted, and then they are overrepresented in these AI tools, and that further worsens this whole vicious cycle and affects publication decisions. So in this case, we need strategies to identify and mitigate bias. So positive steps are being taken. Institutes are waking up, and they realize that accountability has to be taken. The AI tools and developers are being more inclusive, and more regulation is coming into the picture. So as we all are fully aware about the great AI summit that was held in India just last month, is a step in that direction. So many important decisions were taken during that summit, where all these aspects were discussed and talked about. And it was understood that AI is addressing bias in AI is not just a technical issue. It's not just the people who are developing AI, it is a socio-technical and political one. So which is why governments and institutes all are stakeholders in these decisions. Transparency and accountability is also very important. So the AI tools that you choose, are they transparent? Do they tell you that, whatever output that is coming is AI generated, and please always check it? So in the early days, that was not the case. Like, just when ChatGPT had come, you would ask it a question, it would confidently give an answer, and you could believe it. But now, when you ask any AI tool any question, the answer will always have a little caveat that this is an AI generated answer. Please be sure to check, cross check. It will give sources also, that this is where I've pulled out the answer from. You can go and check. So transparency and accountability is very important when you choose an AI tool. If there is a lack of explainability, what was this tool trained on, etc., then it is a problem. Transparency and accountability from your side as a responsible researcher would be disclosure. You need to know how and when to report AI use. Again, as I said, we'll talk about that. Understand publisher policies on AI generated content. So you have to see, does your journal accept AI generated, not generated content, but any kind of AI work with disclosure, what is allowed? Questions around intellectual property and authorship. Remember, an AI tool can never be considered an author. So you are just using those ideas. At the end of the day, you have to take the decisions, and you are the author. You hold the responsibility of that content. All this goes in maintaining scientific integrity and reproducibility. Data privacy and security. What happens to research data that is shared with AI tools? Now, this is where using AI for peer review comes into question. Someone's unpublished data, not yours, somebody else's, you are uploading to the AI tool to get peer review, to get a peer review report. So that is wrong, because confidential, unpublished findings are going to go into the system. We are not sure. We don't read the terms and conditions. How long does that tool, does it use that for further training, or does it delete it? Nobody really knows. Even if you go through the fine print, I have tried to find out. Sometimes the tool will say that we don't store any data. But how do we believe that or trust that? So understand the terms of service, the data retention policies, how long do they retain the data? different research ethics boards and regulatory frameworks. What is their take on this? And follow best practices for protecting sensitive research information. If it is very, very sensitive in nature, don't go anywhere. Don't upload any of that data or text to the AI tool.